Hey, my Legion. How y'all doing today? I'm here today to review Texas Chainsaw Massacre that just got released on Netflix. Oh, you don't review any new releases. You're so in the dark, Joe. That is absolutely pathetic, just like you are. And I got chicken tenders to review, for my review. I mean, I already reviewed them, but to eat during my review, and I got some hot mustard dipping sauce. And I got a thing of V8, low sodium. You know, that doesn't really go good with chicken nuggets. But let's go ahead and talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm going to have to say 2022, because, I mean, you know, they just took the out of there. Now, it's like they did what they did with the Halloween. With the Halloween sequel from 2018, what they did was they had, this is the sequel that negates all the other sequels. It's supposed to be a direct sequel to the original. And I remember John was mentioning, he said John LaRoquette was going to do the narration for it. So that's cool as hell. And then, you know, John said he wasn't going to. I watched it last night because I was going to hang out with John. John said, well, he said he was going to pass on Text J because he heard it was bad. Here's my review of it. I did see it last night. Yeah, it was disrespectful to the original. I'll get to that towards the end. Anyways, it starts out, there's like a TV screen. Well, they have like opening narration. This one was different. It was like they did something like Unsolved Mysteries, right? And John LaRoquette did like the narration. And they had like a little bit of footage from the original. And they talked about the remaining person, Sally, that was in there. The remaining person, right? And the one that survived. The original encounter like 40-some years ago. I mean, played by Marilyn Burns. Sadly, she passed away, and I'll get to that towards the end of the movie. And it said like this one girl's constantly been after Leatherface. She's never been able to find him. She's been hunting him all this time. And there's a group of kids, like 30-some, like hipsters, you know. And they're trying to like they kind of like this one guy, Dante, who's a supreme asshole. You know, just with the name Dante. I mean, just a bunch of pretentious hipsters, right? And I guess he bought the town or something. He said he was going to turn a Dayton-topia or something like that. And they had a bunch of, what was it called? 10 on 10 for both the nuggets and the hot mustard sauce. Anyways, they're going to have a bunch of investors come into the town and they're going to auction off stuff. They wanted to buy the town, for the most part, and turn it into some type of hipster paradise or something. It's gentrification. That's what it's supposed to be. Gentrification. And they talked to one guy in this gas station. He said, like, you know, yeah, she's been looking for that Leatherface guy for a long time. Hard to find someone who always wore a mask. You didn't know what he looked like. And when they go into the town of the town and stuff, and it's pretty much it's like a ghost town. There's not too many people there, but I mean there are people working there. There's sheriffs there, and you know there are people there, but it's pretty much just run down, and not too many people there. You know, it's just a town that's struggling. And they go through and then they go in this one girl was looking, that was with the guy that goes in this orphanage that's been around for a long time. This lady comes in and said, "Why are you doing in my house?" And they said, "Ma'am, you're not supposed to be here." And then he said, like, you know, who says who? And then, you know, because I guess they were given a like a few months in advance, telling everybody to evacuate, that your property's been bought, and so, where most people, anyways. And there, those people that are going to auction off stuff, invest in stuff, were coming in, and he wanted to clear out the lady and stuff. He said, "Do you have the deed?" She said, "I have the deed." And they asked the guy if he had the deed. "Yeah, I have it." They said, "I have the deed." Well, he thought she was lying, and he called the sheriff. He was Dante's an asshole. And called the sheriff, and the sheriff said, "Oh, come on, you're going with us." And then all of a sudden you see this big guy come out. And that's I guess, the only guy living with her, right? And he said, it's okay, everything's okay. And he said, okay. Well, he didn't say anything. And of course, that's Leatherface. Well, anyways, the cops come and they take her, and she's on oxygen. She's in really bad health and stuff like that. And she's like having a seizure, and they take her, and then Leatherface comes with her because that's his. I mean, that's the lady that helped raise him, which didn't make any sense because it completely is different from with him being from the family and stuff, you know. And you know, this is where the believability parts are bad. And they take her to the hospital, and then she dies, and he tries to fix the oxygen. The oxygen wanted to get it, and then he starts taking it, and the sheriff grabbed his hand, the deputy, and he twisted it, and the bone came out, and he stabbed him with his bone from his wrist. He shot the deputy, and they crashed. And then you saw him cut the face off the lady, and he didn't have a face mask on, you know, like Leatherface. And early in the movie when they saw the lady, said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to have company. I would put my face on." That's kind of on point joke, you know. Well, anyways, Leatherface terrorizes the town, and then there's a part where he kills a bunch of people, and he goes on the bus with the hipsters, right? And because the hipsters told him to stay on the bus, and all of a sudden he comes in with a chainsaw running, and all the hipsters have a cell phone, and they're filming him live. And the guy said, "You do anything, you're canceled, bro." I said, "You guys deserve to die." That was stupid, but then I ended up loving it. Because, like, he started killing everybody. The kills in the movie were fantastic. The gore in the movie was fantastic. He started killing everybody, and there was, like, comments. You can read the comments. It was funny because it's saying, like, "You stood me up for this. Oh, man, I want to go there." And then he killed somebody, and someone commented, "That doesn't even look real." That shit was funny. You guys deserve to die. I mean, pretty much, it was a statement against gentrification, I guess, you know. But I mean, the movie was only okay. I mean, the best parts about was Leatherface, because none of the people that you're supposed to care about, you rooted for, except for that one girl, the young girl that was shot, and she was in a school shooting. I mean, she was actually somewhat sympathetic. And that one mechanic guy was kind of cool. And that was in Leatherface. I mean, I rooted for Leatherface. I mean, these people deserve that. You know, who wants a bunch of hipsters coming to their town and, you know, and taking it over, you know? And then, like, I don't think it really... Well, there's a bunch of great cinematography and a great establishing shots, like stuff with rows of, like, sunflowers, you know. I mean, there was a lot of good-looking stuff in the movie for cinematography-wise. But a lot of stuff just wasn't believable. I didn't believe the fact that he was staying there. Well, he had to stay somewhere. And he got the chainsaw. He busted out a wall and took the chainsaw. A lot of stuff I just didn't find believable. I didn't find any of the characters. I didn't care about any characters. I cared about Leatherface. And then I cared about that one girl was in a school shooting, right? And I mean, it wasn't boring at all. It was only at like 83 minutes. But I mean, a lot of cinematography was cool. A lot of shots were cool. The gore is fantastic. The killings were fantastic. The movie was only so-so. But I mean, I give it credit for all the kills and stuff. Whenever they found out it was Leatherface, they called up Sally, right? And then she was going to kill. They were trying to do what they did with Laurie Strode in Halloween. And she was, I've been looking for you all this time. I'm going to kill you. And then she doesn't shoot the guy, and a bunch of stuff happens. The thing that was, she ended up dying. The biggest disappointment, I think the disrespectful thing was, like, Marilyn Burns passed away. That character, Marilyn Burns passed away in real life in 2014. And Leatherface killed like that would maybe be considered disrespectful. But it doesn't get good till like the last 20 minutes, where that girl finally takes a stand. I mean, you know, That's when it got good. And there's like a little scene at the end which didn't make sense. Well, it made a little bit of sense. I don't think there's going to be. I don't know. It all depends on how the movie does, if there's going to be another one. I mean, there's lots of stuff that I liked in the cinematography. I like Leatherface. And I like the kills and the gore. And that one girl was interesting. Everything else, I didn't find anything believable. I didn't care about any of the characters. They deserve to die because, they're just a bunch of hipsters. Oh, we're better than everyone else. A bunch of J. Kim Craves. Not saying he has money, but a bunch of J. Kim Craves going to town. That's the way I look at it. The guy said, you do anything, you're canceled, bro. He went in that bus. It was, everybody brought themselves for it. It was so stupid, but I was like, you guys deserved it, whatever you get. But it's a statement against gentrification, I guess. The movie, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. But with those reservations, none of it, it got a 7 out of 10. The cinematography, it's satisfying, a bunch of hipsters getting slaughtered. That was cool. The gore, Leatherface himself, and that girl was interesting. And that's what gave it the 7 out of 10. The story itself, a lot of stuff just wasn't believable. Way better than the last one. That Leatherface sucked big time. So there's my review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just came on. See, I just did a new release, dumbbell. You think you're better than me? Think you're criticizing my movie reviews, J.K.M. Crave? You suck. Well, anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent on that. I have already talked about that. Now I want to re-rank the franchise, the Texas Chainsaw film. I don't know if I did it before or not, but I'm going to re-rank the franchise from worst to best, including this one, right? So, some of these movies I haven't seen in a long time, but I just remember my initial feelings about them and stuff. Okay. The very worst was the last one, Leatherface. Because some people still say, like, Part 4, the Next Generation Massacre, was the worst one. Leatherface is way worse than that. As weird as that one was, it was still... it still seemed like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It still seemed like one. Not a good one, but it seemed like one. I actually saw that one twice, believe it or not. Okay, Leatherface, the last one, and then the Next Generation, Matthew McConaughey. Then after that was probably Part 3. Then, because I was really disappointed. That was the year, well, let me finish up. Part 3. And then, was it Part 3? Then, because they all meld together. And then probably the 3D one from 2013. And then probably a tie for the new one and the prequel. Then the remake. The remake was number 3. The remake was good, but they still didn't get it right. And they didn't have the touch that Tobe Hooper had. And tied for the best was the very first two that Tobe Hooper did. Because Tobe Hooper really had... really knew the material he was... he really knew what he was doing with those two. Cannon was pissed off with the second one. Said, "Oh, you're supposed to make a horror movie. You made a comedy." But those were the rank. I think I got all of them. I think I did. Because sometimes they kind of like go and, they see to try to make the same movie. But at least in this one, the new one, they didn't try to do the family and screw it up completely. Well, the only two that did the family right were the first two. And the Sawyer family. Now, going back to Part 3, that was a weird year. I was in Germany, and a lot of horror sequels coming out, or bringing back horror, trying to bring back horror franchises. Because I know Nightmare on Elm Street 4 came out, and then they rushed to have Part 5 come out, right? I saw both those theaters. Now, I think I like Part 5. I think I didn't have a problem with Part 5, Nightmare on Elm Street. But the other bad horror sequels came out. Well, they brought back the Halloween with Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers, right? Saw it in a theater. They rushed. It seemed like 10 months later, all of a sudden Halloween 5 was out. I didn't see that at the theater though. Thankfully, that movie sucked. That was the worst of the series, with the worst looking Michael Myers mask ever. Some people, I mean, that was the worst one in my opinion. Part 5, and then Friday the 13th Part 8 came out, which I hated, and I didn't see it at the theater either. I rented it, and then Texas Chainsaw 3 came out. I didn't get a chance to see it at the theater either. Cause, I mean, I was doing shift work while I was in the military, right? And then every time I tried to rent it, it was always out. Part 3 and I was able to rent Part 5 and Halloween 5, which I regret, and Friday Part 8, which I regret. But I wasn't able to get Texas 3 at all, rent at all, and I saw that on cable while I was at home on vacation. I was really disappointed in that one too. So that's my review of the review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm going to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Hope you liked the review, everybody. Till next time, please take care of my legion. All right, good. If I can find the stop button.